There's this idea that the Versailles Treaty after World War I, with the financial reparations and humiliation it subjected Germany to, ruined Germany's economy and brought Adolf Hitler to power.
That's a Nazi myth, and here's why. I'm Spartacus Olsson.
I'm Indy Neidell, and this is a TimeGhost short.
The reparations were not the main problem for Germany's post-war economy. The budget deficit from the war was.
Unlike the other warring nations, Germany did not raise taxes to pay for the war, but took loans to do so. Post-war, to maintain the, for the time, extensive German social security system and pay back their loans and pay reparation, they printed money, which led to inflation and then hyperinflation.
Then there's the idea that the Entente powers just destroyed Germany. Some might have wanted to, but the reality is different.
In 1924, the Germans reined in hyperinflation with currency reform and reduced state spending. Then the Entente agreed to the Dawes Plan, combining longer run rates on reparations with extensive and cheap credit from the United States.
The German economy took off and grew on par with the rest of the Western world. This was the Goldene Zwanziger, the equivalent of the US Roaring Twenties. But Hitler and the Nazis continued harping on about how unfair reparations were, because, Germany didn't really lose the war.
Now, we're not going to get into that today, but trust me, Germany lost World War I. They lost. But the Nazis find listeners, especially in the rural areas. See, the Roaring Twenties boom was asymmetrical. Urban populations benefited from a growing, increasingly industrial, consumer-based economy, while rural populations suffered under falling prices for foodstuffs as production output and global trade increased.
In Germany, among these left-behind people, Hitler manages to win a solid base of disgruntled folks, whom he convinces that it is correct to believe that reparations and the Jews are the ones who have stabbed Germany in the back, causing their economic woes. Soon, his base swallows whatever he says, no matter how outrageous and obviously provably wrong.
There are economic woes post the 29 crash, sure, and admittedly, the German economy started cooling already before the crash, but there is no crisis yet. Then in 1930, Chancellor Brüning makes one of the greatest economic blunders in history.
Seeing the Nazis as a real threat, he wants to shut them up about the reparations once and for all, so he decides to get rid of them by convincing the Entente that Germany has no money. Technically, he's not really wrong at this point.
The US wants their credit paid back. The whole world is in recession, and Germany still has a costly social security system with liberal unemployment benefits. A believer in austerity anyway, Brüning shuts it down and calls for a stop to reparations payments.
Only one thing. With rising unemployment and no more benefits, domestic consumer spending plummets, worsening the already ailing economy.
And this leads to huge public dissatisfaction. Brüning is thrown out and von Papen takes his place. Literally overnight, von Papen reverses Brüning's course and the economy starts recovering. And US President Hoover issues an immediate moratorium on reparations payments.
But it's too little too late to stop the Nazis, who now have wind in their sails. In the July 1932 election, they collect masses of dissatisfaction voters. They are now the biggest single party, but still a far away from a majority, and there is no majority coalition to be found to form a government.
Yeah, who the hell wants to form a coalition with the Nazis, right? No one. No one in Germany, really. Anyway, the economy continues to improve, and new elections are held in November. By then, consumers are feeling the improvements and are happy to have their social security back. The Nazis lose significant amounts of votes, but still keep their base and are still the single largest party.
Again, no coalition, but as reflected in numerous sources and the press of the time, the Germans go into Christmas holidays relieved that the Nazis have not won the election.
The end. No. Cut to the end of January when, under pressure from industrialists backing Hitler and under advice from conservative leader von Papen that Hitler can be controlled, President Hindenburg appoints Hitler chancellor by executive order, bypassing the parliamentary process.
The rest is simple. The Nazis could not be controlled and proceed to gradually but quickly and violently secure power. And by 1935, Hitler is the dictator of Germany both in practice and formally.
To see how that ends, follow our week-by-week coverage of World War II right here. Subscribe, ring that bell.
Join our good fight to share stories, to learn from our past mistakes, and build on our successes by joining the TimeGhost Army at patreon.com or timeghost.tv.
See you next time.